Many of you will have seen some pretty extraordinary pictures a couple of weeks ago on the second day of the Sydney Harbour Regatta of Little Nico with a bit of drama on. And we thought it would be useful for people to understand a little bit of actually what went on the boat with some lessons learned. So we've asked Mitch White, who's the tactician and boat captain on Little Nico, if he could just take us through exactly what happened. We've got a bunch of pictures here and we'll ask him to talk to each of them, what was going on, how he recovered, and what lessons might be drawn from this. So, Mitch, first of all, picture number one, of course, is you looking squared off and looking like you might be about to do a drop, and then it all starts happening. Tell us what was actually going on.
Yeah, we just started. We'd actually looked at 30 seconds prior. We looked upwind, and there was a pretty solid puff coming down. I couldn't tell you how much, but it was enough for us to wanted to get shoot down ASAP. And as you see in the photo, yeah, that would have been, everybody stepped one forward on this boat. Of course, it goes pretty quick. We're doing averaging 22 to 24 knots, so it's pretty quick. And then literally we went down a wave, and the boat got really flat. And yeah, as we said, pitch pole the boat.
And tell us about pitch poling. What's that actually mean? It basically means rudder out, fundamentally.
Yeah. So
bow down, rudder out.
Yeah. So pitch poling is when you bow straight in, and the rudder comes out of the water. There's a few famous photos of boats, Bash 41 in the UK, going straight down. So we did it. We went bow in pretty quick, and then this boat's got a canting keel. So the reason why the boat's leaning to port is the keel was out to port. So we went straight in the hole and then rolled over to port really quick, and then we sadly enough spat a couple of people over the side.
So tell us about it. There really wasn't much doing. You're squaring off to get the kite down, and then you get a puff right at the wrong moment when you're going down. So at that point, you basically lost control, yeah?
Yeah, correct. Second, we lost the rudder out of the water. It was just we're just holding on. So we had our bowman at the front of the boat too, and so in all those photos you see he was holding on to the foresail the whole time, and Zach did an amazing job to keep calm. The short answer to the whole setup is it happened so quick, within seconds, that we just lost control.
So at that point, you were talking earlier about the necessity of actually just dealing with risk management first. Tell us a little bit about what's going through your head when you've got to act that quickly. There's people in the water. What's going through your head?
Yeah, so it's interesting. Like I'm lucky that I've been in the sport for 25 years, but you just have to weigh each scenario from boat, people, what's land, shores. Like if you're going to run aground in a couple of minutes, so once we were on our side, we actually left the boat on its side as long as we could, because we knew that we were going to run aground. We weren't going to touch anything. So yeah, and then you got to weigh up. These people in the water. Do we need to put people in the water to find X, Y, and Z? So it's the biggest thing I could say, a lesson and something we've always been trained. You got to keep calm. People can get a little bit stressed, and that escalates.
And it's interesting you said having the boat on its side is actually quite stable, especially if you're clear of hazards and so on. And of course, I think your rudder was pinning you down as well anyway. So that is actually a safe mode while you actually assess what's going on, yeah?
Yeah, it's interesting. We've had a few chats and there's more to come after this. But in hindsight, we probably would have left the boat on its side even longer because it was actually more manageable in a way. You could just leave it sitting there and have everything flapping. Because once we did come upright, the two guys in the water actually got further away really quick, but they were safe.
Yeah.
They did their safety maneuver on their head, so we just sent a powerboat over to them.
Yeah, and we were lucky. We were watching. There was a sort of marker boat not too far away from you. It was able to come up and just stand by, basically, and check you guys were all right. But they were all just staying very steady and still in the water. There was no dramas. Is that the good point? Is just not sort of make a rush?
Yeah, 100%. If you're in the water, like that's a prime example, is because you don't really know what mental state or physical state the person's in. So once you know they're safe, you just sit there. Because you can lose energy, steam, you can go under. There's 1,000 things go wrong. But the two guys were really good about just sitting still, waiting, and then the staff boat picked them up.
And then getting the boat back upright again, what was the sequence between you letting off the runners and everything?
Yeah, so we of course, it's supposed to be canning keel, so we let the runner go, got the chute at least out of the sky, and then drove the keel the other way, and the boat rode really quick. So it's sort of, yeah, you just got to take each step as they come and not rush.
Usual story, no engines on until you're absolutely clear about everything.
That's 100% correct. We actually went no engine on until we were in the lee shore.
Yeah, you saw you sort of basically sailing slowly up towards the Ponting station.
Yeah, correct. We just wanted to make sure that everything was under control. Plus, it's never great for the engine to be on its side. So it's another thing you've got to add into the whole thing is when with engines too, they're not designed to be upside down or on the side or whatever. So you could rush into something, get started, and actually cause more problems.
So basically a few bruises, obviously, from various folk along the way, but nothing broken.
Yeah, I don't know. We just got a few broken soles, but no broken parts of the boat. It was pretty unique. I did expect something to blow up, but no, we didn't. There's no damage at all. But lots of lessons learned.
So let's talk a few of those. What would you say are the sort of initial lessons for people who are out in those situations? You're an extremely experienced crew, so when that can happen to you, what should be looking out for? What we're talking particularly about things like not thinking Wednesday race, twilight race mentality.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of an interesting one. Like I think everybody takes like Monday night, Wednesday night, Saturday sailing. We all take it a little bit too for granted. I think the biggest lesson out of this is freak accidents can happen so quick, and most of them you don't have control of. So you're actually along for the ride once they start. So the biggest thing is, and it's everybody I work for and start with. We're definitely going to reevaluate the way we structure just even leaving the dock on a Wednesday race.
That's interesting. And then a couple of other things. Obviously, on Little Nico, she was designed for Wednesday racing. There's not no guardrails and so on. Is that something you'll now change?
Yeah, 100%. That's actually funny. On the Sunday night, I put the order in. But we are going to put lifelines. I mean, it's a beautiful looking boat, as you can see. But I mean, a lot of people go for the look. But I think in hindsight, if there's any recommendations to future clients, I would always say to put them on.
And then you were also talking about the necessity of everybody having a knife. You never know when you go in like that, what you've got around your leg or anything like that.
Yeah, like it's interesting. I'm in touch with the Little Harbour and I do some stuff with Yachting Australia, so it's going to be nice to see some sort of rule get put in, but we definitely rules on the boats I sail with like life jackets on a certain clean strength. We've got to decide what the perfect safety factor on that is, and at least just a knife in your pocket. It's sort of because you just don't know. If you do end up in the water, you might need it, and a lot of people don't have them.
Last one is about PFDs. Obviously, in some parts of the world now, they're fairly mad speeds and wind speeds. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I honestly think we need to think about this, but like once you get into 20 knots, everything becomes a new kettle of fish. So, I mean, if it's 18, 20, I'm not sure what it is, but we definitely need to discuss what the limit is to put them on. But you go to America, like San Francisco, you have to wear a full stop. And life jackets these days are so comfortable, so you don't even notice you're wearing them. And it's really, is your life or a life jacket? I've got life.
Good, well that's really helpful. Thanks, Mitch. And I'm delighted to know boat's okay and everyone else is okay as well. Any last thoughts?
No, mate, the biggest thing I would say to everybody is just, if you ever get in a scenario, just don't rush and think about each scenario, and because you've actually got more time than you actually realise you've got.
That's excellent. Thanks, Mitch, and look forward to seeing you on the water.
Cool, thanks, mate.